And once again, a huge shout out to all of our financial supporters, our 87.8 survivors. All of them are on the screen there. You too can become a member just by clicking the join button down below. We also are now doing memberships over on Spotify as well, so feel free to become a member that way as well. A big shout out though to our podcast bosses, Cinnamon and Kenny Baker. Thank you guys so much. All of you are legends who help the shows go on each and every week. Thank you all for your support, even just by watching or listening, and we hope you enjoy this week's show. And welcome to episode 137 of the DayZ Podcast. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we are missing not only our guest this week, which was meant to be JLK. He had travel plans come up that he had to head off and do, but also missing Lad, and by the look of it, we are missing Lemons as well this week. But we have the rest of the usual panel here. Archie, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Sorry I interrupted you earlier. I'm doing great. How are you?
No, that's all good, mate. That's all good. I'm doing well, mate. I am doing well. Cobra, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, very good, mate. Tough week, but other than that, we're here. We're still going. It's
brilliant. Good. And filling in for Lad, taking over the modder duties this week, the one, the only Red Falcon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Here's a designated hitter.
Look at that shirt. I just noticed the shirt, dude.
Yep.
Oh, Stormtroopers.
First order.
And that is something, that is.
Have you seen that awesome shirt of the Stormtrooper in the urinal? And he's missing the urinal. His stream shooting off to the right. I loved that when I saw it. It was brilliant. Yes. Yeah, absolutely
I haven't
brilliant.
Seen it, but that's great.
Not quite, but yeah.
No, there's a lot of really cool Star Wars merch out there. You know, the one with Frozen Han Solo, and you've got the Stormtroopers and Darth Vader getting selfies with him, and yeah, just lots of good pop culture references, and yeah, I love it. Before we go any further, a few shout outs we've got to do. Michael, thank you so much for becoming a member there, buddy. Right, really do appreciate it. Petty Weddy with the €20 and Michael with the 20. And here's 20 corrupt, dirty US dollars to go along with your earlier donation. I am a capitalist whore. Send me your dirty money.
Yeah.
Nah, not a problem at all. Right, let's go back up to the schedule because we're trying to make sure we do everything. No, we have done everything. We've done our welcome engage. We've introduced the co-host, and sadly, no guest this week. So, yeah, we are going to get straight into the show. So, guys, has anyone got any information on what the hell is going on with this launcher bug? I'm seeing it everywhere.
Oh, no.
I saw Sauwercraud's post, and that broke my heart because when you're a community and you're trying to build your community, just there's little things that are out of your control that can absolutely destroy you, isn't there, Cobra? And that's one of them.
Oh, definitely, mate. Definitely. I mean, it all comes down for me to organisation, resolving the issues as quickly as possible because everyone's having problems right now, and it's difficult, mate. It's very difficult.
I'm just putting his tweet up on the page for those who haven't seen it. But, yeah, so the DayZ Vanilla Launcher Bug is still going on. My servers have not been shown for a week now. I lost so many players. The Pripyat fiasco didn't help that I might as well shut them down now. People are leaving my Discord in droves. It surprised me, Falcon. What do you know about it, mate?
Actually, that one I've only heard a few people having that issue, but I haven't had a chance to dive into it mainly because it hasn't affected my servers or players hitting my servers. But the launcher, I mean, it seems like the vanilla launcher has always been problematic one way or another, whether it's getting just crashes to desktop constantly or can't find servers, or there's another long-running bug that really annoys me where if you do a manual repair on a mod because it's been updated and then try to go log into a server directly, it'll often crash the launcher.
Yeah.
So, fair amount of sketchiness going on there.
It's just bloody weird to me, though, Archie, that I know shit changes, but how does something like that go live? That's what confuses me, mate.
I always sing the vanilla launcher's praises, and then stuff like that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's happening to our server too. It takes, if you do find it, it takes legitimately 20 minutes for the vanilla launcher to actually find it with the little crawler, in the filters. So I don't know. I thought it was just slow, but I haven't had the crashes back to the desktop or anything. But again, I don't play modded servers, so maybe that's what's causing that. I can, chip that little piece of info in there.
Like, I know for me, every time I exit a DayZ server, my launcher crashes. Every single time.
Oh, really?
I use the official launcher, and I talked about the reason why I use it a while back, because, and again, I'll put a caveat out there again. I'm not saying there's anything, but I just feel more comfortable using an official launcher than I do downloading an unknown third-party piece of software that I don't know anything about. So that's why I prefer to use the official launcher, but it's bloody annoying when it does things like, it constantly crashes, or it doesn't show up all the servers you're looking for. Like, I've even had trouble myself, Falcon, where when I'm trying to find a server, I just can't fucking find it, and it takes so long to load.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, which is if I'm going to search for a server I haven't been on before, I will always go to DZSA because the search is instant, rather than going into vanilla, putting in the search terms, and then wandering off and having a cuppa or something, and then coming back 15 minutes later when it's finished the search.
Yeah, that's not an exaggeration either. It takes that long.
I
feel like it used to not do that. Like maybe a couple.
Yeah.
It seemed to be so much more fluid. But
something not right.
Again, there's a lot of empty servers that are on there. Legitimately empty servers that are on there. Maybe if they did something about that, it would help. Or maybe if they were on 0, you had to direct connect. I don't know.
I mean, because they're actually streaming into the launcher when you do the search, the list of all the servers, rather than giving it an API query that's just asking for, hey, here's my search terms. Can you give me back what servers you have? So it's just this forever stream of everything that's out there, and then it's filtering it locally. And it's just such a dumb way to do it.
But I think for me, all I do now, if I'm playing a modded server, I will only search on DZSA. If I'm playing official, I'll only search on the official. That's all I do anymore. And I'll tell you what, though, it does bring up something really sad, and that is what you've just been talking about there, Boydie, that people, it's having an effect on server owners right now, and one of our friends there has clearly had a massive... I did read that as well earlier in the week, and it's so sad to see that. It really is.
It's so disheartening, though, because, like, I know Sauwercraud has been pouring his heart and soul into trying to build his community, and you just start to get somewhere, and then something completely out of your control shits on you, and I really feel for him, because he's trying everything, he's getting involved to doing all the right things, and then fuck you. You're having too much fun, mate. The fun police come along and just destroy it, Cobra.
Especially if you've poured your own finances and quite a bit into your own server. That there, and you're relying on some donations, that there is a killer. Where'd you go from there? You end up losing a whole lot, didn't you? So, yeah, that's sad. Sorry to hear it.
It is really, really sad, and I don't know what they can do, other than fix it. But it's disappointing when things like this come through to live, and it has such an impact like this, Falcon.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think as Cobra was pointing out, the kind of your server community is so fragile that. And even if you get a diehard players over a longer period of time, you start getting some kind of fumbles with the server performance or the availability, or like with this launcher bug, and it can evaporate so quickly. And then getting it back is almost starting from ground zero and just working your way back up.
I guess that's why a lot of people quit, don't they? A lot of people quit their servers.
Yeah.
I mean, do we actually know fully what the problem is here?
No,
I'm not aware. Yeah, no.
Nope.
I mean, is it? I mean, well, I don't know then. Something somewhere's not right, but I wish we had some answers.
I haven't seen them make a statement as to what the issue is. If they have, I apologise, but I haven't seen anything. And again, that's kind of disappointing as well. Something like this should be a priority. Again, but has it been reported though on the feedback tracker? I don't know.
Yeah.
Looking at the post before that we were talking about, I just closed it, but I can't even remember if he tagged DayZ in it. So yeah, there's issues with that launcher, and as far as when you compare it to what else is out there with the third-party launchers, it is lacking in a lot of functionality that we definitely need to have added into it to make it just a more user-friendly tool. You even hear from people the amount of people who start playing DayZ, and they're like, how do I find these servers that you guys are all playing? And yeah.
Well, do you know what? That's interesting you say that, because again, it kind of now makes me fully understand why so many people ask me on my Discord or on my YouTube channel, what launchers are you using? Because we potentially are not using the official one. So, if out of interest, you've got the DayZ SA. Have you got the Encave? Is it Encave, the other one?
What is it? The Magic.
What's the other one?
There's a Magic launcher.
Yeah, Jad's Magic launcher.
What's it? Is that it?
As I understand, Scalespeeder, I do think it's a priority, but we need communication on something like this, because it's it's always hard to talk about things like this when it's the dev team and we love them, but if we don't know the situation with it, it just leaves people to be disheartened. And when there's been major issues with the launcher for quite some time, like the crashing, someone saying there's like 20 tickets on the feedback tracker, it gets disheartening, especially when, like Cobra was saying, when people are putting a lot of money into trying to start a community, and then something like this comes along, it's kind of what I like to call own goals, Archie. It's allowing people to hate on the game over something that shouldn't be an issue. I know that there's coding and all the rest of this stuff's a lot more complicated than people give it credit for, but little things like the launcher really shouldn't be such a big issue, should they, Archie?
I think it's the first thing people see. So no, of course not. I don't know if it's happening on console, but on PC, a lot of the stuff that doesn't make sense to me is, as far as where their mindset is and whatever the producer is thinking, right? You got to think as a first-time consumer, you buy the game, you go to launch the game, how's the experience right away? Because if I see other games get away with a lot of things that DayZ's developers get chastised for, I saw it happen with EFT for years, where, they were, being given leniency when the DayZ dev team was being lambasted for the same type of thing. But I think if you put yourself in the consumer's shoes and they launch the game, they can't find a community server that they're looking for. They don't know how to direct connect. They don't know that they can direct connect. The server, the filter crawler isn't working correctly. That would just frustrate the hell out of me as a gamer who's used to AAA titles, So I think it's a huge issue personally. I mean, it has to be, because it's your first impression. You never get a second chance at a first impression.
Yes.
No, you're right.
I am curious about what you said, whether this issue is something that's happening on console as well. But even down to things like the naming, I'm not, there's a word I'm trying to think of, but the way the naming system works, Falcon, and that basically people are gaining the system or gaming the system just by, I posted that I found that Fiverr site where they were, talking about how they can get your server to the top of the rankings and all the rest of it, and pretty much all it is by putting in, a dash or just understanding the numerical hierarchy of how the letters and all that work. Surely there's got to be a better way. I think Zyson said there, maybe a bit of priority for older communities or the higher pop ones, or I'm not so sure about higher pop, but I do kind of think that communities that have been around for a while should maybe again this is all open to conjecture, but what are your thoughts, Falcon?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tricky question because if you go with some kind of system where the servers are, ranked by popularity, or like you said, population, or some other calculation that's based on how many players are on them, you create a scenario where the bigger servers are going to always bubble up to the top, and then we know that there are technical ways to game some of that with I think we talked about a couple weeks ago with potentially inflating player counts, or there's some things that people have done in the past to make put their server in a better light. And so then you create an incentive where that becomes a more interesting type of tactic to take, because you're driving yourself up to the top. So whether it's just, putting 1 million dashes in the beginning of your server name or something silly like that, or some other system where they're trying to figure out who should be on top, I think it's always going to be problematic. It's just trying to figure out which one sucks the least.
Yeah, whatever they come up with is going to be exploited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
So
yeah.
right now it's kind of like a do nothing. It's just based on server name, or
I think
advertise with them and you can get bumped to the top.
I think really, if people are looking for a bit of a quick fix for the time being, I've not had any of these issues at all, especially over the last 2 weeks. So if you was to if you're looking for a modded server, go and use another launcher. And if you're looking for official, stick to the normal official launcher. If you want that little fix for a little while until this is resolved, I've had no issues doing that at all. So that might be a step forward. That might be a way forward for the meantime.
Yeah, a lot of people use Battlemetrics and then just direct connect with the IP.
Yeah.
But that's like, your more, experienced players.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that can get tricky depending on the modding. Yeah, depending on how heavily modded it is, that can be a challenge.
And a lot of people wouldn't even know about a site like Battlemetrics and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot about, I've read into and watched a few videos where you talk about ways to ensure optimal engagement with your community. This is not just a gaming thing, but you've got to make the entry process as simple as possible. Otherwise, especially in today's TikTok age, the longer something takes, the harder something is. Eventually, they're just going to say, fuck it, and they're going to go play something else.
The most minuscule amount of effort and they're out. Like that is like legitimate. I'm not even being sarcastic.
No, it's 100%, and that's why little things like this. I said it earlier. It's a bit of an own goal when you've got a little thing like this, making the gaming experience a bit harder. So yeah, I really hope to see something come out. Like Michael said, a simple tweet by the devs that say we are aware of the problem and working on it would go a long way. Whether that's a monthly thing. I know they've got the forums and all the rest of it, but how many people actually go and read the forums on Bohemia's website? Probably not many. So yeah,
it's not very active.
No.
Well, and the thing is that they do look at Feedback Tracker, and they do fix things that are reported there.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell the rhyme or reason behind which ones they're working on, and there isn't always solid feedback that, hey, we fixed this bug. I know I had a couple reported that I know now by looking at the code for the experimental release have been fixed, but there was the fix wasn't listed in the change log. The ticket that I submitted didn't have any notes on it saying this is fixed in 1.20. So they definitely have a feedback loop problem.
Archie just shared a link for me. Not Archie, sorry, Foxy. I'll put it up.
I was like, I did? What?
Look, if it had been you, Archie, you probably would have got banned again, mate, because it does mention something about the influx of hundreds of Chinese servers, and we all know you're not allowed to mention the high pings. But many of whom
they can't. That's another thing I was going to say. They have to tiptoe to the tulips and walk on eggshells about how they fix that shit anyway.
Yeah.
Because any little thing they do is going to get misconstrued as you know what. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is an issue. That there's a lot of spamming servers, and if you put it via high pop, it's just going to lead more servers to start doing that weird bloody hack where they have fake players on the server. And
mate, that's just shite, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolute shit. That is all the bots and all the rest of it. I mean, mate, that to me is like putting up there with the same as hacking and cheating, mate. All that.
I mean, it goes back to what Falcon was talking about, and any new implementation they put in to try to fix what's going on is just going to be exploitable.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I don't get is, and someone who's smarter can explain this to me, but I thought China was locked behind the Great Firewall. How are we able to get on there and play on Chinese servers and all the rest of it? My simple brain doesn't quite understand how that works.
Yeah, I would just take everything you hear with a grain of salt, man. A lot of that stuff is just conjecture. You know?
I think the Great Firewall is probably more impacts fully legitimate traffic and businesses that are trying to do business in and out of China, and less so around some of these gaming servers. And you don't know where those servers are actually hosted, so that could be Chinese server owners that have them hosted somewhere else that aren't.
I'm just surprised they allow that, Falcon, because I thought great Chairman Winnie the Pooh didn't want his people hearing about Tiananmen Square and things like that. So it surprises me that they allow the open discourse via basically what's an unregulated method.
I'm sure that they're skating around it somehow. It's not necessarily a sanctioned thing, but somebody's doing some shady business to get out.
Yeah, clearly.
Shady business in China? Never.
No comment.
Okay, so there was a bit of a drama during the week that I don't really want to get into the drama side of it. Because for me, this kind of falls into a similar sort of category as the whole Hogwarts legacy debacle that's happening at the moment. But there was a video getting shared around by the creator of the Pripyat map where he shared some rather unusual views, is all we'll say on that. What I'm more interested in is what is the availability of the map. Does anyone know, is the Pripyat map still up? I believe it is.
It is. Yes, it is.
What concerned me, and the reason I want to mention it is, a friend of the show, Cam Can't Run, said he was getting people messaging him, telling him that they weren't going to play in an event that he tried to organise because it was being done on the Pripyat map. I wonder how many of those same people are sitting there saying, getting upset that people are telling them they can't play Hogwarts Legacy because of J.K. Rowling. It's just, come on, people. It's a map.
We're going to boycott.
Because that always works.
Yeah, you can't satiate those types of people, so why even fucking try,
Yeah. It just,
they're never gonna. It's just, you can do 9 things, and the 10th thing that you don't do, you're an enemy. So
yeah,
I don't even.
Yeah, but I was kind of disappointed when I heard the map went down, and I'm glad it is back up. I'm not really following the drama. I'm trying to stay away from that crap as much as possible. Cobra got very angry with me a week or two ago over some other drama that I got involved in, and it was a bit of a wake-up call. I thank you, Cobra. And it was just kind of like,
welcome.
Let's just try to stay away from it, Boydie. I know some of you are going to be upset that Boydie's not going to be getting into as much drama on Twitter, but I'm trying to avoid that crap because it's just, Yeah, even our boy Scalespeeder, I saw he put a video up, and he's doing videos on his channel. Scalespeeder, the great fucking, if there's anything of interest out there, you can be sure that Scalespeeder is going to do a video about it. He's got the most random channel ever, and it's beautiful. But I'm not interested. I did a little poll. I was just curious to see, I do like hearing people's views and things, but most people are just saying either they're going to play it or they're not going to play it because it's not their sort of game. I fall into that category. It's not really my thing, but yeah, Pripyat, though, I definitely want to fucking give that map a shot. If everything I've seen of it, it looks beautiful, but I just, I haven't had a chance yet because there's no real decent servers down under that I'm aware of that have the map. Have any of you guys had a play of it?
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
I have.
What do you think of it?
To me, it had a lot of potential. Yep. I think it was yet another one of these maps that's playable, but maybe 40% or 50% complete. A lot of new buildings, but they were just prop buildings, so that was kind of disappointing that you couldn't enter them and so forth. But it's a nice big map. It's got some interesting terrain features, that sort of thing. So. Definitely worth keeping around. Yeah. But it's interesting. I wanted to talk a little bit about this from a modder perspective, because leaving all the drama out of it, we had, okay, here's a map. It's become fairly popular. There's servers out there that are using it. And then something happens and people are upset. The modder gets upset and deletes the mod. Okay. And that just leaves everybody that had been building on it kind of in a bind. So, and then eventually, he put it back up. But, we've seen that where other modders get, upset for the community, or they make a change and people don't like it, and then they get a bunch of hate. And eventually they just leave the community and pull everything down. So it's a careful balance, especially as a modder, when you're not really making any money, you're doing it for passion. You also have to realize that if you have a successful mod, you do have some amount of responsibility to make sure that you're not going to screw over server owners that are using it and your community, or know that if you do and you just decide, I'm just going to pull this, I'm not going to give it over to anybody to maintain or anything like that, you're going to get a lot of hate. And so if you're going to exit, you're going to exit in a dark way. So it's just a real interesting scenario. And I know with my mods, I always think about trying to find the least horrible time and day to do updates so that I don't screw server owners that, may not have fully automated mod update setups or things like that. But not everybody looks at it that way. And, eventually sometimes you just got to pull the plug because I just don't want to do this anymore. But
they're giving out titles for what we would all be the professors of. Red Falcon's the professor of flying skills. I said I should be the professor of drama arts, but Michael, I think that one actually has to go to Archie. I think Archie's more of a conspiracy man than I am.
Yeah.
Not by much. Not by much. Because
I hate that word, bro. I hate that word. I can't stand that word.
Archie,
he's a truth setter.
What's the difference between the truth and a conspiracy these days?
Just a little time.
About 6 months. Yeah.
I mean, how long are we going to listen to the experts when the experts are always wrong? You know what I mean? But anyway, I was just going to say about that Pripyat server, like that would be a great way, because every bit of marketing, the number one marketing strategy right now in media is manufactured outrage.
Yep.
Pretend people are mad about it, get a bunch of bot accounts to complain about it, and then you create this big hype because it's everyone's polarized. So then they're going to either hate watch it or watch it out of support, and then you get bullshit media that's just mediocre, and then they just marketed it without having to pay for anything, right? And if you wanted to promote a server that no one, like I never even heard of the Pripyat server, right, until the outrage started, so it's just a great way because word of mouth is the number one type of marketing. So you manufacture this controversy around it, controversy, how they say it over there in Cobra land, right? And then bam, you have all this free advertising.
Yep.
And then, but there are real things, like, I know this is a DayZ podcast, but like EFT is in such a bad place right now because Unity is not supporting Russian creators and Russian companies, so they can't get any support for their game because of political shit, But there is real thing. There are real things that happen, but I think most of this shit's just manufactured outrage so that it gets some hype.
I do like what Michael said there. Social media, where everybody thinks the experts are wrong, and everybody on social media is an expert. And we do, because it's just we're bucket hell, Michael. You almost had me on a conspiracy rant there, buddy. But one day I keep on thinking that I'd just like to do just a talk in the, taking the piss, chewing the fat, whatever you want to call it. Just at least shit in general. But one day,
at least people on social media stick to their story when the experts just vacillate, not ad nauseum. That's the shit that gets on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Okay. The next topic I want to talk about. Where did I put it? Oh, I didn't put it in there.
That's what she said.
Now, our boy Scalespeeder put a video up. Let me just pause this one. And I'm curious as to what you all think of this.
Let's have a look. Come on, I think I've seen this actually. Go on. Před vlevo. Před vlevo. Před vidím směrem před 7 metrů. Před pravo. Vidím cíl směrem pravo. Vlevo. Před pravo. Před.
Now, it would be OP as fuck. We all could agree on that. But I do hate the fact that there are so many wrecks in the game that you can't get a working vehicle from. Be it that green truck wreck you see that's like the old ambulance, the military ambulance one, down to the variety of, particularly up there at the Northwest Airfield, you've got that whole tank graveyard, as well as the columns and all the rest of it. If you had the right weapons in there, make it that it is extremely hard to get one going. But I don't know. I don't think it's urgently needed, but it would definitely add some variety to the game.
I think we're going to get some more military style vehicles. Just with the Reforge reports, why would they not? Yeah, and that big ambulance, the V3S Command you're talking about, that's been in the game files forever. Me and DOJ found that back in the day. There's an interior on it. You can climb up in it. I don't know why they wouldn't port those things in. I know it takes a lot of time, but I mean, have you played Reforger and look at all the vehicles they've got on there? Most of those have rec models in the existing DayZ. So I don't think we're very far away from military style vehicles other than the Humvee in the game, especially once they fix the map surfaces.
Even the military Jeep, the Russian one, it frustrates me that that's not in the game because it's such an iconic wreck. You see it everywhere, but they put the Humvee in before an actual vehicle from the region. That one kind of surprised me, but what do you think, Falcon? Vehicles are your thing, mate.
So, I've got some fairly strong opinions on this that in some cases I totally go against. The kind of push to have more military vehicles and specifically things that can shoot. I've certainly had a lot of people ask about when I'm going to add guns to the helicopter mod or bombs or rockets or that sort of thing. And I've seen a few people try. And I just hold that just exactly what you guys said, which is it's just too OP. And you can mitigate it a little bit, but, making the ammo not very available or things get damaged very quickly. You have to repair the guns constantly. But I get to a point where my thought is, hey, if you want to do military simulation, go play Arma. DayZ is a hardcore survival game. And the more we drift away from that, the more we start running into some of the other challenges with DayZ as a platform. So I walk a careful line of, I do have military helicopters. I have civilian boats. I'm pretty much staying away from military boats. But yeah, it's that fine line of, and then do you start putting space vehicles and things like that? I know some people that are working on things like that. I support them, but as far as the game, you start creating an entirely different gaming experience.
I agree to an extent. I think it's DayZ is a survival simulator, but it's not a bushcraft simulator. You know what I mean? Like it's still set in a post-apocalyptic environment where the military came in and intervened, which is why all the evac sites are set up, the little tent cities and shit. So it would make sense if there were military things, but like he said, you would have to mitigate it. As far as like some random civilian jumping in an APC like that and driving around and knowing how to use the turret and that's a little far-fetched, but I agree with him.
I do think you touched on something though, Red, that there are a number of ways that you could mitigate the impact of a vehicle like that. Michael made a funny comment up there, but pretty much all you have to do is put a fireplace in the middle of the road and it'll flip into space. So they're not quite as OP in DayZ as they say they are, Cobra. But with the requirement to find the certain vehicle parts just to get it up and going. They've got a number of fuel pumps all over the map. Again, I know there's the issue with the amount of liquids that the game can have, but I've always been confused that there's no diesel fuel in the game and no petrol. You can limit the availability of the fuel. You can limit the availability of the ammunition. Make it like it's a 30 cal or a 50 cal. You need belt ammunition as well, which is completely different to your standard ammunition. So there's a number of ways, Cobra, that you could mitigate the impact for vanilla. Obviously, community servers are going to do whatever they want with them. Spawn instantly with a BRDM or a bloody whatever, if that's the way they want to set their server up. But in vanilla, I think you could manage it because Scalespeeder says it would be a great addition to the mythical end game of DayZ, Cobra.
Well, I think if you're going to add, I mean, I fully get what Red Falcon says there, and again, Archie's like kind of half there. I personally think, would it be too far-fetched to have on official a really, really difficult area to get into, maybe an underground area on Cherno that's so difficult to get into? It would take, I don't know, an awful lot, maybe a team, whatever it would take. And once you got into that, after weeks of trying, then maybe there is something OP in there like that. But ultimately, I don't think it's something that you could, you would be able to just run around, find like the Humvee. They're not that hard to find, really. And I think if you did do that, especially on official, I'd have to agree with Red Falcon's assessment there. But again, if there was just one like super hard, I don't know, area zone that you just notoriously difficult to get into, and there was maybe a Barrett or whatever it is you wanted in there like that, then I could kind of go with it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I know how to fix it. This is what I would do. So in Pavlovo Military, which is a static gas zone, and in Northwest Airfield, which nobody goes to, there's gas pumps. If they just made those diesel, and that was the only place you could get diesel, and then you had to get the diesel from there, right? And it didn't spawn in the jerry cans and shit, right? You had to go actually seek it out. Then that would. I mean, and then
you got to get out of that vehicle to refuel as well. You can't just sit in there.
Yeah, I mean that. But like the Humvee is supposed to be armored too, and then it's just kind of broken. But as far I see a lot of Humvees, but I only see them in clips where people are getting ambushed on the road.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you think about it,
saying that diesel's already in the files. It's just not being used.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so that counters the issue I was worried about with the amount of liquids that you can have in the game. If it's already one that's allocated a space in the files.
There's a lot of stuff with cars. There's radiator or engine belts. There's brake fluid. There's motor oil. There's all kinds of things that aren't being utilized that would make it more interesting. You know, if you peg your engine out too much, the belt snaps. You know, those have been in there forever, and the models look good. You know, I mean, you used to have to put motor oil in the cars.
Well, and I did use both motor oil or engine oil and hydraulic fluid for my vehicles. So the boats take motor oil, the helicopters have hydraulic fluid. That's
one of the things I loved about your mod is how intricate. You actually felt like you were putting a helicopter together.
It wasn't that easy.
Right.
And Archie touched on something before, but I don't know how many of you have any experience with armored vehicles. Mine is only limited to the M113. And that's an interesting vehicle because I know there's been some upgraded versions of it, but for the most part, the ones that we had in the Australian Army, in the early days of Vietnam and things like that, you had to be up in the cupola, exposed, to be able to shoot the gun in it. They did come up with some automated versions where you could operate them from inside it, but we could dumb it down, make it a bit easier so it's not completely OP. That if they were to introduce something like this, you've either got to have people shooting out of the vehicle as just occupants inside it, because some vehicles do have firing ports, but others you'd need to actually expose yourself, stand up, potentially be shot to be able to operate the gun. So you're not just driving around in some immune vehicle and just shooting at everything all around you, because that I do worry would be over the top. But
over the top.
Yeah,
one of the things that I constantly hear said was one of the early memories from the DayZ mod is so many people talk about. I've heard Brian Hicks talk about it, but from all of these people, that one of the greatest things of their memories is those servers that had the one helicopter or the two helicopters or something like that, and the whole server was all focused around getting control of that one helicopter. Yep. And then once they had it, they were the target. Everyone was like, "These fuckers have got the helicopter now. We're getting them." And it created an organic goal for the game. Sauwercraud, thank you so much for the 3 months, mate. Do appreciate it. I hope you're here. We were just talking about you before, mate. You'll have to go back and watch the VOD. But I do think that is one of the things that is lacking a bit with DayZ overall. That there's not really those big ticket items that when someone gets, wow, they've got it. Okay, we've got to take over. Other than if they build a big base, but those vehicles. Yeah, there's something to getting. The Humvee is kind of a bit of it now, but I think that there's so many other options.
Honestly, trucks, man. Like in vanilla, there's only 5. So right now on our server, we've noticed that people are going around and raiding bases just to get the truck, because the truck's just a mobile base. You can put tons of logs in there, planks in there. That's not even in the inventory. That's in the actual log slot. You can put, 4 barrels and 4 crates? It's insane. It's literally a rolling base. So right now, that's kind of, if people see you with a truck, they're going to stalk you and try to set up a road because they're so hard to come by. And you don't have to put glow plugs on them anymore like you used to. So
it's just
throw a battery in there and you're good to go. Yeah, so they're so OP, man. But
they're slow as hell.
But the good thing about that is they go up, they maneuver better, so there's less chance of you wrecking. Because I noticed I'll jump in a Gunter, I'll be driving down the road doing 40, and then I'll just when the server is slow, I'll rubber band into a field and die. That never happens with the truck.
Oh, I've never had an accident with a truck. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's an off-road machine, dude. I know the gearbox is unique, I think.
I've always liked the trucks. I think they're great. Even just to have one stashed in your base, and then you take it out whenever you're going to do a supply run, and they're just one vehicle I want to see back, Falcon, is the old cargo truck, or the player, the transport one. That used to be awesome. Having a 4 of 8 blokes or whatever you could fit in the back of it and heading off.
The flatbed.
Yeah, the flatbed.
Yeah. That's just a V3S with a flatbed that you could uncover, or you could add the cover to it.
Yep.
Right.
There's 3 types of V3S or M3S, whatever it is now. There's the cargo, there's the flatbed, and there's the command, right? And if you look up the file, I'll try to find the files and DM them to you. The interior looked insane. It was the textures look great. The model's beautiful. If they could implement that I don't know if that's in Reforger or not, but man, I would be so excited for that. And the van too. Everybody knows I want the van back, man.
Those vans, I love them. Even the Utes as well. Another vehicle wreck that frustrates me that they don't have in the game, but you see them everywhere. These beautiful little Utes, and even being able to get a police car going. How cool would that be?
I know, why are there no? There's the
you're right.
Police car variants.
Yeah.
And then you know what I noticed though, back in like 109, they started taking out vehicle wreck models that they were gonna bring the new vehicle back, and then they put those new vehicle wreck models in the old spots. They removed all the van wrecks, but they haven't re-implemented the van yet.
Sorry, I have to ask, Fist, do you love getting high but does smoking hurt your lungs? Effing YouTube ads, man. What? I am so glad I've got YouTube Premium. I haven't seen a YouTube ad in so long, and for everything I hear about the ads on YouTube is like, what the hell? What ad was
targeted
that?
ads are weird.
That is awesome. Oh my God. But I definitely think that there is scope for a lot more interesting. And again, people, please remember console. Us on PC, we're blessed with some amazing mod makers like Red. I have seen that there's armored vehicles on some servers, and I've even played on a few of them myself and all the rest of it, that you can do amazing things. But for console, definitely more vehicles. It's up to them how hard they want to go. I like the fact that you need, special wheel types for each vehicle, and it's not just a one size fits all. So I like that, provided that those high tier vehicles are an exercise. You're finding those parts and it's like, oh shit, oh God, okay, this is only the first part of the vehicle, but if I leave it, will it despawn, or will someone else come along and take it? And these are all questions that add to organic interactions that can change the Ferdinand, the reason I do is I'm a very, very strange and complicated individual. I don't like using ad block because I don't judge people who do. You do you. I'm not the fucking internet police, but I like to do premium because it still ensures that the creators that I love to watch are getting the money that they're entitled to for the content they're creating. That's why I do premium.
I do it because when you lock your iPhone, it still plays the fucking video instead of closing the app out.
I didn't even realize that was a premium feature. There you go.
So when I'm in the shower, I can watch stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you watching in the shower? No, don't forget.
No,
I
you remember?
No.
Remember those ads that popped up on Google for you last week? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
No, mostly podcasts and shit.
Yeah. Okay. Now there was a fundraiser happening. There was a member of the DayZ community who got placed into a very, very awkward position with housing and accommodation. I tried to re-find the tweets. Does anyone know the one I'm talking about? I've seen it getting posted everywhere, and then when I actually went looking for it, I couldn't bloody find the. I think her name was Rach, Rachel, but there was a lot of people sharing her situation. She did a post, and I should have grabbed it at the time, but I didn't. If anyone's got the link for it, please share it, because I would like to just share it, because if you've got a $5, you've got a $10. If you can help out someone, I don't know the person myself. I don't think I've had any interactions, but the amount of people who I do know and respect in the community who were doing stuff to try and help her out says a lot to me. So yeah. Does anyone know got the link or know who I'm talking about here?
Yeah, I do. Didn't Lad say something about this last week. I can't remember what the link is, but I haven't got the link. But I think Darkwing's put it out in the chat.
Let me have a look.
Yeah, I think he's given you the details there, mate.
Rachel Carpenter, there we go. Let me see if I can find that. No, I'm not finding anything under that. I searched that name. Sauwercraud, again, YouTube notifications still suck as much as the vanilla launcher.
Yeah, notifications are terrible. Yeah. Terrible.
And I like searched for half an hour before the show while I was waiting, trying to find this link. But, oh, God, it's frustrating me now. No, okay. If someone could find it and share it with us, that'd be appreciated. I do want to go on to another topic. This shared ban list. Now, I know we've touched on it before, but now I've seen another streamer. I don't know the background of it, but a guy by the name of Delor. Now, I know there was a bit of argy-bargy drama between him and Sarah Moore, and I don't really want to get into that. The thing that concerns me and what I really want to talk about is, the global, you just shared, sorry, before we go into that, I can't see the link that you posted, global. That's the link to a Twit Longer. If you send it to me in a DM on Discord, I can get it up. Nope. Okay. Okay, so we'll go back to it. But yeah, okay. This shared ban list. I've got some serious concerns about the way it's managed. Archie, I'll go to you on this one. The concern I have is, okay, I agree that it's a good thing in principle that, you know, when you get someone who's really bad or whatever, the information can be shared and that person's then banned from all the servers that are sharing this shared ban list. But how do you appeal?
So I mean, I've had that happen to me. It's basically when you get on a content creator's bad side, they can just blacklist you, right? Like I got banned on Doug, and now I'm banned on all the Spaggy servers for some reason, even though I've never fucking played on them. I've never spoken to the guy. He said some snarky shit on Twitter. I just ignore it. I never did anything to get banned on there. It says reputation ban. I don't know. I don't have any back bans on my account for cheating. I've never, been caught cheating. I don't like it in that aspect. And a lot of content creators will gang up, and use their network against other people. So when they see someone as a threat or competition, they'll get them blacklisted. I mean, you know that, boy. Do you remember the DMs? But it's happened to me my whole career that I've been streaming. That's why I went away from Twitch. But I have the shared ban list in our server, and I will say that most people use it for good when you're talking about like CF Tools shared ban list, because it'll pop up and say this person has a VAC ban, 900 days ago. So, 3 years ago they were banned for something. It gives you a heads up, and 99.9% of the time, if they did, the people, if they did it once, they're still shitheads. I've given so many people a pass, and then they ended up doing the same shady shit. So we had to ban them. But you can also go into CF Tools. There's a guy who he pops up in the chat sometimes. I won't name drop, but he's a good guy. We've had plenty of conversations. We played together. He joined our server, and I saw that he had a bunch of bans from RP servers that were all just petty admins, So, and when you get banned on CF Tools, it shows up with every single server that uses it. And I'll appeal and I got 2 of his bans removed because he didn't ask me to. I just know he's a good guy, and a lot of these server admins are power tripping, man. you know, and they don't realize that it's permanent. Once you ban somebody, it shows up for everybody. So it's kind of like, you know, getting a felony. It's on your record forever, you know, unless you change your Steam account. But no, you know, no one wants to do that just to play one game. So, I mean, it's got its pros, but then again, everything that's meant to be a good thing gets exploited, you know. So it looks bad when somebody who's just being a petty, you know, prick bans you.
See, that's what worries me, because I know in 99.99999% recurring of the cases, it's a justified ban. I don't dispute that. Someone has behaved egregiously, done something incredibly bad or whatever, but
most of the time it seems like it's I just banned him because I didn't want to deal with it, and the community all said he was bad. So then a person will get kicked off a server and banned based on hearsay, you know, or gossip. They don't really have enough proof to permaban the person. But I think a lot of people just don't know that when you ban someone, it shows up for everybody else, you know. So you kind of gotta, when you have like a rogue admin, like a lot of these servers do, that, you know, are just ban happy, because a lot of admins don't play the game. They just like want to ban people. That's their personality trait with a lot of people that want to admin servers. If you're constantly getting reported,
it's a personality trait with a lot of people when they get power.
Exactly.
You can tell a lot about a person by the way they react when they get power. And, you know, I'm pretty sure every single community out there has made someone an admin on their server and then had to unadmin them because they abused that. Red's nodding his head.
Also, it's a lot of responsibility, you know. It all falls on that person to make these decisions. And even if they don't think the person is guilty, they've got 10 people that are in a faction saying, well, we're going to leave. We'll go to another server if this guy doesn't get banned. And then the person feels like he or she is being dogpiled. I've seen that happen so much. They'll mass report, or they call it brigade reporting, where, you know, 20 people, that's not an exaggeration in a lot of cases. You know, a dozen or 24 people will put in tickets about one crew or one group of people, and they'll just ban them because it's a nuisance, you know? And then when you try to appeal it, sometimes it works. Sometimes a lot of times they ban you from the server. You're kicked out of the Discord. You know, like when I got banned on Doug, they kicked me out of the Discord, the TeamSpeak, everything. I couldn't even appeal it. So
everyone's saying that I'd be on their ban list. Durlef, my ban list is a grand total of 0 players long, testament to how uninteresting my servers are to the pew pew crowd. But still, that nobody has come in and caused a ruckus in 4 years is interesting. It's in today's day and age where people will brigade someone for any sort of thing, you wrong think, whatever you want to call it. I genuinely have concerns that there are people out there who, and even if they did do something stupid, how do they go about getting a second chance or a third chance? I know Zyson there is saying for DayZ Down Under, if someone appeals a shared ban on DDU, we refer them to the community that added them to the list. But also our shared ban lists are from trusted servers. And again, I want to reiterate, the caveat is I do believe that 99.99999% recurring of people who are involved in this are good. But there's got to be cases out there of people who got banned for mistaken reason. I don't like that there's nowhere that they can go, a Discord they can join for the shared ban list and appeal their case even. I understand that there's issues with that, that most server admins are doing this out of the goodness of their heart. So, to ask them to take even more time to sit down and hold a court session where the person appeals their case and all the rest of it is a bit much. But there's got to be something, a way for them to appeal a shared ban because they may have, we're all human. We all have emotions. We all react to people differently. It's,
on our server.
Sorry, Foxy's saying there in chat, you need proof to put them on there. I know that, but I mean, you kind of need proof. You don't, Foxy, I can go on my server and just ban anybody. People have been executed for proof in the real world. So proof is,
I've seen people on the ban list. There was no proof. It was just banned for admin disrespect. You know what I mean? And you put this guy on a list because he disrespected the admin. Come on, dude.
So the situation we had was our servers had we were using the champions ban list, and we were also sharing our ban list back out so that everybody could see if somebody's banned on our server via the shared ban lists. That now they're showing up with all these bans, and what we were getting was people showing up in our Discord trying to get the ban removed from our server, even though they didn't want to play on our server, just because it was a reputation thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've deservedly been banned from like Trump's Wall a couple times for doing trap bases, right? But they always lift it, you know. But yeah, you can just be a shithead admin and ban. Like the way we do it is 2 admins have to agree on the ban. That way, if one person is emotional, the other person's usually level-headed, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's a good policy.
There's a pretty bad, implication that comes with being on that list. You know, so when I see people I know on there, I'll ask them about it, and then if I believe them, I'll contest it because I can. You know, but yeah, it's just a way to scarlet letter people, man. If you don't like them, you can blackball them, use your network against them, and that's the problem is these clicks, man.
Well, that and things like on your server, you may have a rule that you can't build a base with more than 3 doors within 150 meters of a safe zone. And I'm like, on mine, it's just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so why should I be picking up your bans where you also may have legit ones, but you got these crazy rules that I don't agree with? And
okay, so
they all feed into one bucket.
There's been communities out there that have been exposed for shady dealings. They've done shady stuff. What happens with their ban list when they've been shown to have either scammed people or worked with cheaters, hackers, whatever? What happens then? Has someone said, shit, that calls all of their bans into question? If they're that petty that they're going to do something like that, what have they done? You know, how many of these supposed you can edit stuff. You can only show the stuff that's relevant to supporting your case and not the background. We see that happening everywhere in social media these days about almost anything. You see a 5-second clip of someone doing something and you go, oh my God, that's terrible.
No context.
Without the 5 minutes beforehand that explain it. So this is my concern. As Archie said, this shared banned list has a pretty big connotation that, wow, they must have done something really bad. And they could have. In most cases, they have. I had one sent to me, or I saw a comment about one. I did a basic delve into it. And yeah, the guy totally deserved being on there. But he was saying, and lying about it and trying to make out like it was terrible that he'd been added to it. And when I looked into it, it was totally justified. And I replied back, yep, this didn't get a reply from him. He got caught out trying to lie about it. But
I don't know. In my experience, it's more like half the cases are justified. Because if like you go on CF Tools right now and look at the ban list, if you just of the people who have came in my server and it's vanilla, right? So most of them are like admin disrespect, illegal base raid, duping items, gear cycling, petty shit that should have been like a 48-hour, 72-hour ban. And these people are on the list. And a lot of admins see that and just kick the people to, pull the problem out at the root. And they don't even look. And then when you're trying to appeal someone else's, like if they come in our server and they have a ban from another server and I want to flag it, and have it taken off CF Tools for them, I have to write an essay to CF Tools to justify why I think it should be removed. You know what I mean? I just have AI do it. But like still the fact that you have to do that to get someone off that list is pretty rough, man. So it's a little overpowered sometimes. I think that it all falls on admins being overzealous. Sometimes.
Yeah, Studmuffin said in chat there, report it to Philip and he will look into it. And if it's bad, he will remove the listing. How do you report it to Philip? Who is this Philip? I've heard this name mentioned. I have no idea who the fuck Philip is. Philip DeFranco?
I don't know.
Again,
I'm only talking about CF Tools ban list because it's all verified and you can go through and talk to the other admins and stuff like that. So
and there are other ban lists as well that other people probably have and share and all the rest of it.
Those are just blacklists though. Those aren't even like legit ban lists. They're just blacklisted players that that people don't want on their servers.
See, now I've never been on this ban list. So what comes up when you try to join a server and you're banned under CF Tools? Does it link you to his Discord or his website that you could lodge an appeal here?
CF Tools, it's whatever the admin puts in there for the ban message. So we always put the Discord on there. Like you can contest it here, and we put a link. Like when the Spaggy server thing, it just says you're banned auto reputation.
I hate that. I fucking hate auto reputation.
And I'm like, I've never even played this guy's fucking servers while I'm banned. Again, I've been banned on Trump's wall and shit for trolling. Justifiably, I admit that. But they put a link and says you can contest it here. Or the wall now, I'm sorry, whatever it's called. But a lot of them are just blacklists, man.
I think the obvious problem here is if you don't trust an admin to not abuse his powers, then how can you trust the same admin to write up why they've banned them? So for me, I think the whole thing, there's no regulation there, we know that. But I think to make it really simple, there either needs to be levels, or there needs to be a simple, if you are a cheater or you've been caught hacking, you are permanently banned from everything. That's worthy of going on the list. Everything else, which is, right, I broke the rule on this server, such as Archie was saying, I set up a trap base deliberately for a bit of fun or a bit of content, or I did an illegal base raid, but actually I made a bit of a mistake. I mean, you're talking misdemeanors there.
Yeah, but again, though, at the end of the day, it's their server; they can do whatever the hell they want. But
of course.
When you go on a shared list, because
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So for me, I think you've got two problems. One, if you've got admin abuse, then how can you trust what they've said anyway? That there is an issue, a whole new issue. And secondly,
how much info is shared though on this? So someone said in chat, Ray said in chat that we see a flag that you have a community ban. So, okay, does it show the evidence? What evidence does it show?
It just says whatever. Yeah. And there's a slot for evidence, but it's always empty.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry.
No.
There's a slot that says proof.
Can anyone show us what this looks like? Because I've never seen it. Please do. Share your screen.
I've never actually seen it myself.
Because I really want... Knowledge is power, there's a lot of, people carry on, this secret squirrel list and all the rest of it. But I think if people see...
Actually, I can't because I'd be violating that thing by showing this, and this is privileged information, so I can't show you. But because there's some law in the UK that you can't share. That's like a lot of people.
Protection.
A lot of people will, like when I used to get stream sniped all the time on modded servers, or if somebody would kill me with hacks, I would say, well, give me the guy's Steam so I can block him, and they'd say we can't. And I was like, why? That's fucking stupid. The guy's
really?
He's you can't share it because in Europe there's a bunch of laws that guarantees internet anonymity. So if I share, and it says it on CF Tools, if you share this information, you violate the terms of service, and they'll just kick you off CF Tools.
So people are saying that there is sections for writing text and attaching files, but a lot don't. They just give a reason, and that's it. So what happens with these ones where there's nothing provided, where they
still get banned? Yeah, they're easier to appeal if you want to go through the time to appeal them. And I've done it for people that I can vouch for, right? But again, I'm not going to go on, see somebody that I've never played with before, and then vouch for them, and then them end up being back on there. It just makes me look bad. I've only appealed a couple bans for a couple people whom I've known for a while, and I can say, without a doubt that they're not disrespectful.
I'll come out and I'll say this, Cobra, interested in your point of view on this, but I think if there is no evidence provided within 7 days of the ban being uploaded, the ban should be removed. If the person can't be bothered to provide the evidence of why a person should go on a global ban list that is shared amongst the majority of the best servers out there, then it should be just auto removed. If you are not prepared to meet the minimum standard of evidence required, gone. You agree, Cobra? What about you, Falcon?
In spirit, I agree. I was just flipping through my ban list stuff, and there's just pages and pages of cheater or aimbot cheater, and if you look at the details, there's no No details.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So then some guy kills the admin or kills the admin's friend, or most of the time it's the guy who is in a faction with 12 people that the server doesn't want to lose, right?
Right.
And then they go, hey, this guy aimbotted us. He's cheating. I know he's cheating. All right, well, let's jump in a Discord call. And then there's no context because there's no recorded, like they don't use the ticket system and
if I was
it.
watching Toprek as an admin, I would swear that guy has fucking aimbot. If I was watching Smoke, I would, and you know, they're just two content creators that we can name off the top of our head who've got godlike fucking skills. Imagine just how many players there are who don't create content who are just as good as them.
Well, this is an interesting conversation, right? So I also have admin rights to a server or two that I purposely don't play on, normally for cinematics only. And I've recently I won't say the name, but I'm going to be doing a series on there shortly. But I've just contacted or had contact with a very reputable, very well-known server, multiple servers that is. And they have said to me they had a problem with what they thought was cheaters. And they said, actually, we watched this group for about 4 hours, and they allowed me to jump on under their admin tools and watch myself because they wanted to see my perspective on it. And I looked at the actual kill to start with, the reasoning to start with from a couple of players. It turns out that this group, 2 of their PvPers were so good that they were just killing people left, right, and centre. And this is it. You talk about Topret. I've seen it personally. I've actually caught this week 2 proper hackers on official servers. I've actually got it in my series that's due out Saturday. I show you the evidence. It is clear. You can see them shooting up in the air and the bullets coming all the way down and striking me, right? Absolute clear footage. Now, there's 2 ways of dealing with that. You can either take that, show it so everyone knows, or you can just talk about it, and then who knows if they're cheating or not. Now, without that footage I've just said I've got, which I'm going to show Saturday, you can make your own minds up and it's quite clear. But how could I raise a ticket or provide feedback without showing that shit? So my point about all of this is, if you can't be bothered to put up some evidence, then unfortunately, in my view, you shouldn't go on any ban list.
Yeah, and it all comes down to the server admins too. They have to require that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And then again, a lot of times when you're looking for something to be out of place, you're going to see it. It's Bader Meinhof effect.
Oh yeah.
Right? Which is why we do the 2 admins have to agree thing. You know, because when I come in, I always try to play devil's advocate. I'm not an admin, but you know, we have one guy, he's just ban happy. He wants to ban everybody. And then another guy who's like, well, you know, it could have been legit. He could have known you were there because you shot an elk or he saw the deer running away, you know, and you just got to have somebody playing devil's advocate because the shit is permanent when people get hit with that. It's a scarlet letter, man.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Permanent ban we're talking about here. That has to have evidence. Without it, even though cheaters are frustrating as hell, without evidence, you can't. How can you justify banning someone permanently?
Yeah, most of the bans I see aren't for cheating at all. Most of them are, like I said, for admin disrespect,
which is bollocks, isn't it?
Stupid shit. And then you put this guy on a list because he didn't, play into your fucking ego, which is a huge issue with admins, dude.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you go, everyone's dealt with it. I have the power. You're guilty until proven innocent. It's preponderance of evidence. You're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Well, good debate though.
Okay, so
I just dropped a free Nitro link in chat if anybody wants that.
Don't click on it. Don't
do it.
So is this is like evidence nothing, reason toxicity, expires never.
Never expires for being toxic.
Right.
Okay. Well, interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That technically you can't even show that, but
it's not showing any names or anything.
Yeah, Yeah, you're not supposed to show the dashboard, but it doesn't matter. So this isn't your server. You didn't screenshot this. So but yeah, it's that's the kind of thing. And then there's not a flag option on that. And there's no evidence in there whatsoever. So there is a flag option that's just cropped out. So where there's no evidence, those are a lot easier to get to appeal and get removed as someone with access to CF tools. But a person that doesn't have access to it is screwed unless they know an admin that can do it for them.
I think Stub Muffin makes a great point there. When it comes to maturity, you've got to treat your players like customers. I think that's a lot of people get caught up with. This is my server, tough shit. This is the rules, and that's great. But hold on a minute. If you had no one on your server, you wouldn't be running the server. So how about you 50-50 that, balance it a little bit?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that come with it as far as like personalities and trying to placate and kiss ass. And God forbid you like shoot a female player and then the admin comes in and bans you just to like get in her good graces. That's happened to me so many times. And there's just all these different personal things that go into it.
Yeah.
And it's unfair.
Yeah, fair enough. But there is no regulation. There won't be, so we have to deal with it, don't we?
Yeah, or just as admins, be smarter and have better policies, because you're permanently labeling people unfairly in a lot of cases. Now, like I said, I would say about half the time it's justified. There's evidence on there. There's
Absolutely.
There's a clip that goes to streamable where you can watch the guy obviously cheating and shooting the guy through a wall. But
So Lad shared something with me, a statement by Philip. This is from almost 3 years ago. Public display of ban list entries. Sharing ban lists is a powerful tool for every community and server operator in the fight against cheaters and abusers. Sadly, the tool itself has been subject to abuse in the past few months as it was misused as a public battleground for private feuds. Starting the 9th of December 2020, every ban list will be delisted. To be listed, a ban list must fulfill these requirements. Used on at least 2 servers, actively maintained, at least 100 entries. Every ban must conform to the code of conduct. If primary language is other than English, the ban statement must contain an English translation. Verification of listing can be requested via the support centre. Use the subject ban list verification and provide information why you think that your ban list should be listed. So it's great that he's got some sort of guidelines there, but that's quite old.
It is, and it's also talking about. Well, I was going to say that's talking about listing in CF tools. There's also the ban list that gets shared through the super secret elite companions Discord, where you can say, "Hey, I've got my servers and I've got a ban list that I want to share, and here's the code," and other people can pick that up, as well as feeding into or pulling from the companions ban list, which is a kind of a comprehensive one. So that's where it gets tricky.
I'm not against the ban lists, because they do.
Oh no, not
there
at all.
are a lot of douchebags out there. Be it, I've seen some of these messages that some of these edgelords send when they get banned, especially when it's a female admin who bans them. Oh my God, the vile shit.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
The vile shit that comes out of some of their mouths is fucking horrendous, and they deserve to be banned until they mature up. And if they come back the next day and say, "I'm sorry, I said horrible, mean things," I wouldn't be unbanning them. In a year's time, maybe you might review it then. But even then, actions have consequences. But people make mistakes as well, especially young men do and say stupid shit. So why shouldn't 6 months, a year later, they be able to plead their case to someone? And I'm very cognizant of the fact that time is money, even when you're doing something voluntarily. So you need to be aware that this can't be something that takes up hours a day dealing with little edgelords who said something stupid or downright vile, or who downloaded a hack. Because there's so many fucking hacks out there. I had a video shared with me of some guy who actively promotes them. His whole channel is about using hacks and showcasing what he does. So little kids watch
Bohemia,
that.
no.
Yeah, I did. I sent it to Scotty. But when it's these listings that are no evidence, never expires, never expires should be for. I really think that should be something that if a ban is going to be for never, then that needs to be something that is reviewed by a group of people who are prepared to sit down and argue why that one should be a never expires, because that's a pretty big fucking call for pixels. For something
they're just that person you just shared is only banned from that server, so he's not permanently banned from the game, but still it follows you around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Especially if the server has a good reputation. Like if day one bans you for something, people are going to be like, okay, that's legit. You know, Zero servers ban you for something, that's legit. You know, if Doug bans you for something, maybe, but I'm just saying.
Right. Well, and Sauwercraud brought up a good point, which is VAC bans, that's the Valve anti-cheating ban.
Yep.
And that was, I know when I first started with servers, that was one thing where anybody that had a VAC ban, I would go and look how old it was, and you'd get like a 1-year grace if it was a year ago, because again, people do stupid things and whatever. But that one, you can pretty much guarantee that's legit.
I'm going to try, and if someone has a relationship with Philip, I would love to get him on for as a guest in the future to talk about this with him, because I fully support what the mod does, but I just think there needs to be a few checks and balances in place, and that people supplying lists to it should be held to a higher standard, especially when it comes to these permanent, never-ending. And there needs to be more information provided to people, not just auto reputational ban, because that is what do you mean auto reputational? Did someone say bad things about me? Did I say something bad or what? There needs to be a bit more information, but it needs to be user friendly. We don't want people having to sit there for an hour having to lodge a fucking ban report. It needs to be a simple system that is fair. Okay, I think we've exhausted that topic, that's for sure.
Indeed.
Let's move on. I think we are getting almost ready to go to you guys. Oh, I did have the tweet up as well. Let me just quickly share this before we move on. We were talking before about Rach. I shared the tweet in chat, but yeah, this is her Twitter account. Where is it? So Holly did a fundraiser for her. Here's the twit longer. As you all know, this month I will be closing out my streaming journey, if not permanently, at least for a while. When I lost my job, I didn't realise the challenges and difficulties I would face, but if you know me, you know I thrive in vulnerability and discomfort, because this is where we truly grow as humans. This is where we discover and create ourselves. This is where we learn about who we are. I was denied any financial supplemental assistance from the state. Former employer's final decision dictated this, as well as any food aid. This outcome has left me struggling to eat and care for myself, keeping electricity or internet on and a roof above my head the past several months. My bills, debts and finances are piling up. Streaming has been my only source of income since October, and the massive amount of support I've received has helped tremendously and left me speechless. I'll share the link to it there, but there's basically a few ways that you can donate if you are so inclined to. Holly raised over $3,000 in like 6 hours for her, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, if you're looking for something to get yourself a bit of karma, good karma to make up for horrible things you may have done, which is why I try to do good things, because I did a lot of horrible shit when I was young and dumb. So yeah, I'll share that twit longer in the chat now. But I like I said, I don't know Rach, but the amount of people who I do know who are doing stuff to try and help her speaks volumes to me. So if you can, chuck her some money if you can. If you can spare it, there's someone out there who looks like they really need it. Yeah. Okay. What else have we got on the agenda? I think now we are onto the segments. Modding. Red, what's been going on in the modding world, mate?
Well, I think the big thing that we haven't mentioned yet is the 1.20 update release date was announced. So that's going to be Valentine's Day, right, next week. And, as we've said, as people have been looking at it, that there are not a ton of like new content or new items added to the game. It's much more focused on bug fix. And honestly, across the modding community, those kind of bug fixes are the ones that can cause the most mayhem with our mods. So I would expect that there's going to be a little bit of disruption when this goes live. There's going to be some mods and some interdependent mods that may not work properly right away. That's something that I'm just gearing up to. I did some initial smoke tests on my mods. Everything works, but I know that there's code that they've fixed that I had workarounds for that I need to remove. So again, I would expect a little bit of disruption for modded and heavily modded servers when this goes live.
So take this, if you are a server admin or a modder, take this as your notification to quickly go and put in for a day's leave when the update happens, because it sounds like it's going to be one of those spicy ones, Archie, where the server admins and modders are scrambling to work out what the fuck mod is causing their server to crash.
That's every update. I just think it's funny how they drop it on Valentine's Day, so no one's going to get to play it if they have I mean, I guess they just expect us to not have significant others. But as my wife knows, I'm married to DayZ, and she's just my side piece. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
You're a game man saying that.
Right. He's been around the block. I would also expect that since no modders really coordinate their releases with other modders, that there's going to be a lot of, oh, look, this just updated. And so the servers cycle. And then 10 minutes later, oh, look, this just updated. Or people do often multiple releases because the first one had a bug and the second one had a bug. So like I said, it'll be a little bit of tumult.
When everybody's modded servers don't work, you can come play default DayZ because we don't have any mods.
There you go. Big selling point for plain vanilla.
That's right.
Now, Sauwercraud mentioned before that he has a bit more info on this launcher issue. So if you want to jump in to chat now, Sauer, and you can fill us in on that. But he's just said in chat there that the launcher issue still persists in experimental. Ooh. That's a bit spicy, because that's a pretty big issue. But yeah, while he jumps in, anything else happening in the mod world at the moment there, Falcon?
Well, so Derlith just brought it up in HunterZ's animation mod. I was going to bring that up in my shout out at the end, but we can talk about it now. So for those that aren't familiar with the player animations situation in DayZ, that's a thing that can be modded, but you can only have one mod per server that touches the player animations. And so there was lots of talk over time about an animation framework that would make this all golden and beautiful, and we could all just go through that and do all our custom animations. And of course, that seems to have fallen by the wayside. But HunterZ's been working on doing some custom player animations and throwing them into a central mod. He's actually done some for me and helicopters that I need to integrate.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is HunterZ doing crack or something now?
You would think so. That guy is cranking out content all the time.
You knew exactly where I was going. It's like he's fucking just hit some bloody OCD, obsessive compulsive. He's just, I've lost track of the amount of stuff that he's doing at the moment. It's insane.
It absolutely is insane. I suspect that he only does modding. He never sleeps and has a million ideas. And does some quality work. So that kind of with his centralized animations, and I know that he's included some that other people have created as well. You can start to have your players do other things other than just the vanilla animations, like in a helicopter, holding the cyclic and the collectives, in riding on was it the snowmobiles that Pink PDX did? Changed it so that they sit on the snowmobile properly and hold the handlebars, things like that really help with the immersion.
That's so immersive, dude. That's so
absolutely.
Needed. That's. I hope you're listening, Bi.
I even love that guitar mod that someone made where you were actually strumming the guitar. They so need to add Barely Infected song to that, and I think if they reach out and ask him, Renee would say yes. But I just love that. Even I've seen there's a mod with a bugle in it. It'd be so cool to be able to raise it up and not just have it doing the drinking animation because that annoys the crap out of me. You use the bugle and then you hear this glop glop because you're drinking while it's blowing out the song. But
they can take that out though, right? Oh no, that's right. Because I was working with another modder on our shape charge mod before the IEDs came out. We were trying to put a custom click sound on there, and it was like impossible.
Yeah, that's really tough. Really tough.
Okay, Sauer, fill us in on this launcher issue, mate. What's the update?
Hi, everybody. I just want to say, hopefully Archie has a good, comfy sofa for tonight. And I just want to say as well, compliments to Hunter as well. He's, I think, one of the modders who thinks always out of a box. He's really, really amazing. And he does not work for money. He does never work for money. He started doing the EAI mod because I asked him if he could do something about it. And he said, you know what, I'm going to start it over again. I buy him models from time to time as well because he does such a great work and never charges a cent. It's awesome. Okay, my rant about the vanilla launcher. I didn't notice. I only noticed my servers got really, really empty and quiet. At the moment, I have 14 maps. On those 14 maps, 2 players.
Shit.
It's really, it's really that bad. So, and the issue, so if BI releases 120 with the same problem, it's going to be a death sentence for a lot of servers.
Like even something I've noticed is every now and then, either half or some of my favorited servers disappear. Now, I know that could be if they change their IP or things like that. There's other more technical reasons, but even that's bloody annoying. It is so hard to stay linked to the servers you want to play or even find them, Sauwercraud.
Yeah, the other thing is I don't like to use the DCSA launcher because I really don't understand why they use a different folder for workshop items. I have no idea. So you double everything up, basically. And of course, on the DayZ launcher, you have the issue with people faking players, more or less. So that's the other thing. So it's not always true what you see in DayZ SA launcher. I don't like it that you don't see in vanilla launcher how many people are playing. It just says slow and up until you reach a certain amount of players, basically. But in general, I like how it works. It tells you right away, okay, this mod has an update. Do that. But yeah, the server, the crashes they have as well. But at least it gives you an error message. When DayZ SA launcher crashes, you got nothing. And it crashes as well. So that's the other thing. So there's always it's a two-edged sword. One has advantages which the other one doesn't. Server search is still a pain in vanilla. It got better with 119, but not by much. The crazy thing is I have a player at the moment playing on my experimental server for Trenaros, which I cannot find.
Yeah, he's probably got it favorited.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I can't find the server. So you have to always direct connect, basically. Then it kicks you out because you don't have a mod loaded at the moment. And then you find it in a recent server. But it's such a pain.
And I just want to quickly, Zyson just said something very important. If server numbers are so important, it is exactly correct what he is saying there. In Vanilla Launcher, you can click on copy server info and it shows the actual player count. So if you're in Discord with your mates, you can just copy that list and send a message to someone and it will show you. But even if you just expand it, I think, when you do it, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've had to do it, but it'll show you the exact player count, so you can see that in the official launcher.
But nobody does it. Everybody just looks at the row of servers basically, and they go by that. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is, it's the vanilla launcher is for people who just want to play DayZ basically. They don't Google around and look up. Oh, it's the different launcher, you know.
It's not good for community servers.
No, it's not.
And the other thing, like he said, with it not showing player counts, we did that. Bean and Bardown did a farming event on our server last Saturday. We had like 41 people, and it said medium, 41 out of 60. And then it seemed like people see medium as it's not high or full, so they don't want to play it.
And the thing is, you can go really sneaky with that one. I did it once when Eden was still a thing. I had trouble with Eden running perfectly. My server was too old back then as well. And I lowered the player count to 20 as soon as there were 11 people on it. It was high so yeah, and that helps as well. Of course, if you have a server with 128 slots or whatever, it always shows low even if you have 50 players playing. So that's a huge issue as well. Yeah. So should I read what I reported to BI last week?
Yep.
I wish you would.
Yeah, please.
So hi, Geese and friends. So Geese, for people who don't know, he's the guy who has to go through all the tickets. Since 2 days ago, none of my servers show up in the server feed. I use 2 different server locations, but none show up. I do have special characters in some server names. So I have my star system for difficulty. But even those without a star rating don't show up in the server either, in the server list either. In DayZ SA Launcher, which I usually don't use, they do show up. Since I have my servers as favorite, I didn't notice anything. They still work fine. So when you bookmark them, basically, they still show up. That's not a problem. So Geese answered in, thank you for the report. We are aware that some servers do not appear correctly for everyone, and we are looking into this. Regards, Geese. And yesterday, I asked for a status update, and he just answered, unfortunately, there's no new info I could share. The devs are aware of this and will attempt to fix this. However, I cannot provide any estimates. And that's the scary part.
Well, rest assured, the BI has some really good programmers working on DayZ. That's all. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the streamers I have promoting and me having a platform on YouTube.
Yeah, those I don't have. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. It's really hard. Right now, it's almost impossible unless people are paying to promote or they're faking their player counts on DayZ SA. It sucks.
Yeah, and I stopped paying DayZ SA a while ago.
Just quickly, I'll show. So this is the official launcher, and what Zyson was talking about. All you've got to do is go right-click, copy server info, and it brings up this box. Players 1 of 40. It shows you the exact amount of players on a server. Just right-click, copy server. For some reason, it keeps on putting it over there, but yeah. And even on the official. God, it is so slow. Yes, I am streaming and everything at the same time, but
no, it is that slow. It loads about 3,500 servers first. It's really slow.
When he said go get a cup of coffee after you search it, he wasn't kidding, man. I'll make like a thing of noodles in the microwave and come back and it's still going.
Yeah, so now you got all the fake count Chinese servers, and that's pretty much it. Even if you sort it by ping, so I couldn't find any server lower than 195 ping. Any.
Yeah, the ping thing is scuffed too. I don't know. There's something going on with connectivity right now on pretty much all community and official servers. It's driving me nuts.
And the weird thing is, I asked on Twitter as well, it even affects some Nitrado servers.
Yeah.
That is the odd thing. I mean, I'm self-hosting. As I have 2 locations separate by each other, 2 different networks, everything, and and those are all the fake Chinese ones. They show up in DayZ SA as well, though, with 128 out of 128 or something like that.
As they said, they've got to be careful because it's a PR nightmare. Xenophobic and all the rest of it. So yeah.
What I'm a little bit disappointed about is that they didn't disclose it publicly. So the BI Twitter account is pretty quiet about it, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
I've come to see that they came to learn that they don't like to talk about their black eyes, right? They don't like talking about cheaters. They don't like talking about hackers. And don't get me wrong, I'm always obsequious to the devs. I have friends that are devs, right? I think they're doing a great job. But even on the on the live streams, I could see it in Adam's face when someone asked about cheaters and Matei read it off. You could see it in his face. He was just like, fuck, why did they bring that up? But they don't like talking about it. They don't like when people make videos about it. They don't like when people tweet about it because it's kind of like bad publicity, I guess.
No, it's not just that. But like it's also by talking about it, they're bringing attention to it. So they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. Is the scary part of talking about issues like that. Yeah, it's even here on this show. We've sometimes wondered what do we talk about because by talking about something we're bringing attention to it, and is that attention going to be positive, a net positive of what we try to do? Because I
was just making a point to Sauwercraud's point about there not being a public statement. I think that they try to not publicly acknowledge that kind of stuff because then other people will see it on the official DayZ Twitter and be like, oh, well, if the game's having,
I mean, it's not a bug, it's an unintended feature. They can talk about it.
But then again, I also agree that whatever they say, people take it as a promise, So if they say we're working on it, we're trying to get it fixed soon, then everybody's like, oh, they said the next update it'll be ready to go. People. So they have to really watch what they say.
I mean, I'm really worried about the 120 because I have to work about. I mean, for all the servers, I probably shut a couple of them down for now. But I have to work usually per server about 5-6 hours. I'm by myself, so I have no admin or anything. So I'm all by myself. So 5-6 hours per map, roughly, and then usually with a release. So I usually prepare. So I shut the servers down in the morning. Put on all the files from the experimental, basically update the types files, map group OS and whatnot, and then usually with the update something still breaks. So I mean, I tested my mods, but I know for certain something is gonna break. At least 3 of all the servers are not gonna boot anymore, and I mean that's a problem as well. I would love to see a little bit more communication with the community servers than we get a pre-warning system. I say, you know what? We intend to update to release next Tuesday. A week in advance would help a lot. I had to write I had to send an email
we've talked about
this morning.
This in the past on the show that there needs to be better communication about updates. Even just it sounds like they've done better with the modding, but when they're making changes like this, and there needs to be better communication. If they do a special mod community newsletter or something of because they may get advice because some of the modders I know have been involved quite heavily behind the scenes working with the DayZ team to help identify some of the technical issues that have come up. So
I was going to say, even if there was a place where server owners and modders could go that normies wouldn't be interested in, that they could just post to us.
They do have it. They do have it. It's the Bohemia Interactive Forum.
Okay. I never see it. It's never really that active, though. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. That's exactly the problem. But if they have a server tab, basically, it's okay. We post the information just for server owners. You have to register, put in the IP of your server or whatever to be approved. And then you get a little bit pre-information how you can prepare your server they're not down.
That's on them.
I didn't even know that.
That's on them to promote that. That's something that DayZ has to lead. They have to drive creating a culture where people want to go there to share information because they're getting good continuous feedback. If people are going there and just posting stuff and there's nothing being done other than it might change a status, but there's no communication, then people aren't going to bother. That's something that they need to do, but I understand again that that's also quite manpower intensive, someone to go in there and manage and liaise with the team. And we don't want the team spending all their time just communicating. We'd rather that they're fixing stuff, but we still want to know what is actually happening. Yeah,
I mean, I just hope everything turns out well again. I mean, the thing is, they really work hard on the game. I mean, they update a lot. They do listen sometimes to the community. And I'm really hopeful. I mean, I've been doing this for 4 years now, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
It was never easy, you know. I mean, it was never a full pop server, except maybe one map for a little bit. I mean, it was a new map or something. But I still like to provide a service to my players. I don't get paid. The exact opposite. So last year I spent about €8,000 on 2 servers, and I got about a RAM stick worth of donations.
Yeah.
But I mean the not even talking about power utility bill and whatever, you know. So yeah, I mean it's really it would be nice to have maybe one special person in the DayZ staff. They're just here for the community servers and say, you know what, we're going to help you out.
They've got that Dance of Jesus guy. He does fucking nothing. Maybe they put him in charge of it.
He just puts down trees.
Yeah, Lad's looking for a job, right?
He's working on forests really hard, and he does a good job.
Right.
And again, he's going through the forest at the moment, spinning all the trees. His theory is that if he just turns all the trees around, everyone will think he's made a new map. So I think that's a 200 IQ play by DOJ right there.
He's clearing out the Northwest Airfield at the moment, so give him slack a little bit.
Right, so keep us updated on that, mate. We've got to move on because we're getting close to the end of the show. Thank you so much for the update, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye, mate.
We're going to do it, mate. We're going to do it. We've got time. We're still about 10 minutes short of knockoff time. Content creator spotlight segment. Cobra, take it away.
Okay, right. This week, this came down to 2. I won't mention the latter at the moment. We'll just go with the one I'd like to show off this week. So we're going to go over to Sid and his YouTube channel. Have you got the link there in the chat there, Boydie?
I'm sharing the channel right now, mate.
Brilliant. Okay, so if you look at Sid's latest video, building our new cozy crib into a base. The actual thumbnail, I really like the thumbnail. There's a lot of these type of thumbnails going around at the moment. Clearly, a lot of content creators are going to the same 2 or 3 thumbnail artists. But I like this thumbnail. Quite simple, well done, and the story's not too bad either. So if you get a chance, Sid's channel is currently on 12.8 thousand subs, so he's doing well. The actual channel has been around since September.
Decent views as well. It's always good when you're seeing way more views than you have subscribers. So that's awesome for him.
He's doing really well, mate. I mean, the channel's only been going since September 2021. And if you look at some of them views, 137k, 78, 60, 59, 53, 52. He's doing really well. So fair play to him. And if you look at a lot of those thumbnails, they're all of very good quality, I would say. So my content creator spotlight this week is on Sid. There you go. Go and check him out.
I'm very picky about videos, and I would click those. Those look really good.
They look really good, don't they?
Yeah.
I really like those thumbnails. I think Archie will probably have testament to this as well, mate. But it gets to a point. I mean, me and Archie had a little chat about thumbnails this week, just past week. When you've put out over 200 videos, it gets to a point where you've got to come up with something a little bit different with your thumbnails, which we're always looking for that new catchy one, but it's difficult.
I actually
it's
like
really
what
difficult.
he's doing with his community posts as well. He's
doing well.
His art theory and all the rest of it, and is he making these himself? Is he drawing this himself? Because boy, he's got some skills.
I don't know. I've not spoke to Sid, but I think you've got 2 options here. Either that's his own work, his own sketches, and if it is, fair play to him because that is outstanding. Or when you go and hire a thumbnail artist, they will send you the sketches. Right. So the really good ones do send you the sketches. So it's one or the other. I'd like to say it's kind of looking like he's doing it. And if it is, fair play to him. I'm going to shoot him a message. I'll ask him.
It's nice to see people like artists getting paid in this gig economy because AI is really shooting them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Look, if you get to do the AI thing, you do you, but it doesn't strike me right. I've got issues with it. We've talked about it
personally, I mean, I've looked at a load. There are a few now in the community doing these AI thumbnails, and I've got to say, if you put those AI thumbnails up against this guy Sid's, I think Sid's wins hands down. Wins.
Yeah, the only one I've really seen doing it well is Bean. Hers looks
Beans,
good, but she's got an eye for that kind of thing. So.
I mean, I've seen the difference in her channel since she's changed the name, obviously, and gone down that route. And I understand, I do like what she's putting out. That's all good. But if you look at some of the other ones, there's some real disasters out there.
Yeah,
there are. I mean, I spoke to an artist last week, and I said to him, "So how are you actually creating? What is it you're doing?" And what they're doing right now, because AI isn't quite good enough to generate these type of thumbnails. So what they're doing is they're getting backgrounds off AI, and then they're doing the rest of it Photoshop and stuff. So
yeah.
I've got an example of a really, really bad channel that doesn't know how to do thumbnails.
Go on, show us.
It's absolutely fucking terrible. These are some of the worst thumbnails I have ever seen.
Okay, but to that point, I will say,
oh boy,
our buddy B-Wad, his thumbnails are not like spectacular, and he does like if you go to B-Wad 99's channel right now on YouTube, his thumbnails aren't amazing, and he's still just raking in the views. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you go to his actual thumbnails, like he's got a video, like see those thumbnails? They're not outstanding, but if you look at his like beginner guides, he's got like 500,000 views on one of them. For a DayZ guide, dude,
wow,
that's insanity. And it's
how long ago was that out though, Archie? When was that one out? Was that a year ago too?
Yeah, about a year, I think he did one. And it just it did really, really well. You can go down there and like that, right there, his guide. See that one? Look at that. That's the most basic thing ever. It gets the. Now, thumbnails are huge, don't get me wrong, and branding is a huge deal because people will see your brand and recognize it in your thumbnail immediately, like we talked about Cobra. But that right there is just one of the caveats to the whole thumbnail argument.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think it's got so much, though. There's so much that has to go right per video, the right time, the right day, the right look. All of this stuff matters. The right, all right, descriptions may not matter as much anymore. Titles may not matter as much anymore, but all of that other stuff always still comes into it.
No, there's the worst thumbnails on YouTube right there.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is Ray said it in chat. And we used to get Mark shit on the show when he was on as well.
I'm working on my thumbnails, actually. You can't now, bro. It's your brand, dude.
Do you remember this one, Archie?
Oh yeah, but look at his what is it? The military convoys guide right there. It's plain as hell, and he got over 100K views on it.
Yeah,
so really, I mean, it's all about your branding, man.
Yeah.
I think any video that he does that he talks about films will get me watching forever.
It says 33.
So, peace out for now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are pretty much done. We will do individual spotlights. We'll start with you, Falcon. What's something that you want to shout out this week?
Sure thing. Admiral's parachute mod. I think it's been brought up before, but and it was something that I was dubious on. People have asked me about making a parachute mod for the helicopters and whatnot, and I just said I don't want to mess with it. I know it's been attempted and failed hard, but Admiral's done a fantastic job. So you put on the parachute, there's actually a backpack slot so that you don't lose the backpack ability. And the descent rate is configurable, so you can totally set it up to work the way you want it on your server. There's also a jetpack that works very similarly, except it's got flames coming out and you can kind of fly around a little bit.
Is there a chance of injury when you land?
There is not, I believe.
There should be.
Did you see how good those particle effects looked on the flames, dude? That looked so good, man. There's a video of it, Boydie. I saw it in the Discord, I think.
If you want to do it, check it out in the DayZ Discord because we are coming up to time. But yeah, I did see them myself and it looked awesome. But they definitely got to look at a random injury chance for the parachuting because we used to always laugh like we had a para battalion here in Australia, 3 RAR, and they had a whole company dedicated to rehab for the amount of blokes who had leg and back injuries from parachuting in. So yeah.
I broke my right foot 3 times on parachute jumps in the Army.
Oh, good Lord.
Knees too.
Knees are gone too.
Archie, what about you, mate? Something you want to shout out?
Yeah, let me. I just dropped a link in chat, and it's not Nitro. So Sweet as Kill is a YouTube streamer. She's an item with Billy BY, the guy I talked about earlier. Outstanding young lady. She just hit 1,000 subs on YouTube. Nice. I don't know if she's got her watch hours up or not, but we've been trying to push people over there and get her subscriber count up. I just realized it's over 1,000. If you're looking for, she plays with Bean a lot, plays with BWAT a lot. If you're looking for another content creator to watch who's very interactive, very wholesome, and good at the game, check her out. You know me with the up and coming people, I always like to shout them out.
Exactly,
so
mate.
Give her a look-see, give her a sub. It doesn't cost you a thing, and you're supporting the small DayZ YouTuber community as far as live streams go. And give her a hell hydration. She's live right now.
Cobra?
Okay, I'm going to slightly veer off what I normally do here. So this week's spotlight for me is a new-ish type server. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's ARMX. Any of you heard of that?
No.
Negative.
No.
Take a little look at this, right? This is a server, ARMX. This is a server that is starting off with the new crypto Bitcoin mining mods. So you run around, you have to get airdrops and everything else, and you get yourself a computer or a laptop. I had a look at it a couple of days ago, actually. It looked pretty cool. So yeah, you then have to run about a bit more, go to some vaults, get all of the details, the extra objects you need, like a memory card and whatever else, whack them all in, and all of a sudden you are mining in your base Bitcoin. And I think they're worth something like 200,000 per Bitcoin. So if you do that, it is quite, I wouldn't say difficult. I think the server's set up to, it's going to be heavily PvP type server, but if you can get your hands on those, you're going to be one of the richest clans on that server. So my spotlight this week is this new server.
That sounds badass, and I don't even play modded servers, but that sounds badass. Raiding somebody's Bitcoin mine?
Absolutely, mate, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking hate Bitcoin.
We just got Boydie spun up.
Yeah.
Don't get like Archie. Like Foxy's saying, don't say that to Boydie. Yeah. Mine. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I have to do this. The Spreadshirt shop. Now with the community branded merch. Get in there and buy some, folks. I love how some of these turned out. We've got the panorama mug, the color panorama mug, the hoodies. It's got the podcast logo on the back, and the community logo on the front. You can get it in any color that's listed on here. So yeah, I think we even had it pointed out to us that not to jump on any. Oh God, get back there! Not to jump on any bandwagon. But when you plus shipping, we have a $30 mug as well. Yay for us!
Maybe the devs will drink out of it on stream.
But I actually quite like the panorama mugs, the coloured handle, and then the logo wraps around. It's pretty cool. So if you do want to check out our merch store, I will put a link in the chat. I'm on the wrong bloody page. Please do. We're trying to get as much money. Was that you, Sauwercraud? I saw that. Sauwercraud, someone bought 2 of the hoodies during the week, and I was like, I wonder who that was. So, but please send us pictures when you get them. I'm going to be doing an order for myself and also getting something for all of the team who are on the show as well, so that we can flex our own merch. I do like that, the community one. I'm also, and I don't care if someone steals this idea, but I'm also trying to work on something along these lines. So I need help, folks. I need inspiration. For those of you who, particularly the US boys, Archie, Falcon, summer camps are a big thing in America. And I'm trying to come up with some sort of logo that we can make that's just a generic sort of DayZ thing. This was my summer camp. This is a real summer camp. This is the summer camp that shaped me. And this is the base concept that I've come up with so far. One of the classic summer camp huts, a zombie fire, some sort of silly message. So if you've got any ideas, hit me up. We'll get it made by someone who actually knows how to do this sort of stuff. But that's something I'd love to get on there as well. Something, we've all seen the straight out of Churnerus sort of one, but yeah, I'd like to make something along these lines. The camp counselor is a zombie sort of thing is what I've been thinking. And yeah, so I'm interested in ideas. If you've got any ideas of stuff that we can add up on the shop as well, we'll work something out with you. But anything we can do to get some money coming in, because we want to make this year's Christmas show the biggest and best one we've ever done.
Have you tried DayZ Map mouse pads? Also, I just want to say the merch, I bought this before I was even on the show, like 2 years ago. The quality is excellent. I've watched and dried this thing probably 50 times, and it's still, the logo's still there. My wife has one too. They're outstanding.
So please go on there and check it out, folks. And just thank you all for the support. Today the amount of donations, the merch purchases. I truly do believe we can hit 10K subscribers this year, Cobra.
I think we can, mate. It's just a case of keep on going, keep on improving. Hopefully the people are coming.
Just keep swimming. What do? You swim.
Australia has some strange songs.
Cobra, that was just such a deadpan. You were dying inside when I was doing that, weren't you? I was watching your faces. I was thinking, it was like, why did I agree to be on a show with this fucking idiot? God almighty.
You're right, mate. You're right. You're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. It's been another great episode. I really do hope that we can get some more information about this shared ban list, because I do think that there's information that we need to get out there so that people, we don't want the full ins and outs of how it works. Some of that stuff needs to be kept quiet, but there needs to be a better process. But we'll get there. We will get there with trying to get some information out there for everyone. Next week, we have the one and only friendly podcast team coming on. That's going to be a good show. That's going to be... No. Sorry, no, I am wrong about that. You guys did your collab with them the other day. So keep an eye on that. That got brought forward. Next week, we have Scalespeeder coming on, which is certain to be a live show. I think I might not be able to make it next week because that motherfucker is going to roast me hard. He always does, but I love him for it. I still think that stream where he come on and he had me printed out in paper on the wall behind him, I was just like, what the fuck? Wow. He's such a troll. Yeah. All the best, everyone. We will see you all next week. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button down below. Consider becoming a member if you can. But yeah, we will see you all next week, same time, same channel, as always, for the DayZ Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything DayZ related. Ciao for now.
Hell hydration.
Hell hydration.
Cheers, everybody.